Welcome back, everybody, to the CHG Podcast. And today we have ourselves the most special guest. Y'all know this man. I don't got to introduce him. Rob, Shut-Yer-Gob. Look at him. Show that mug.
Oh, there we go.
He even got
It's my first piece of merch. Look, there we go.
He's got his own merch.
I know.
And
hold on. Let's plug it. Let's plug it. The mouse mat, yo.
He's got a mouse pad. Man, you can't. Like, he bought his own merch. That's how dedicated he is. How many people you know buy their own merch? Not everybody does. Oh, I think everyone does. That's beside the point. Anyways, guys, so this is a special episode. This is actually coming out the day after Christmas. Yes, the day. Well, when I post it, no, it'll be so bad the day after Christmas for you guys. Yeah, so it's the day after Christmas for everybody. Overseas in the U.S., UK, Malaysia, China, whatever. And it's also our 20th episode. So a nice round number, the after Christmas episode. And we got our man Rob in the house.
Thank you for asking me, man. I really appreciate it. I've watched for the previous 19 episodes and I've been like, well, why am I not on there? No, I'm joking. Of course not. But no, it's lovely to be asked to come on.
Trust me,
we've always had a bit of an issue with time zones. So like you've either, whenever we've actually been able to talk face to face, I've either been drunk because it's really late or I'm in bed, and so, it's cool. It's 6:30 for me. So
in the morning, by the way.
In the morning, yeah.
The morning.
So, if you just bear with me, but I'll always get out of bed for you, my dude.
Oh, man. And I'll always get in bed for you. Hey.
Wow. Now there's an offer.
There we go. Hey, people, don't worry. That's the start of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he and I go back from like very beginning of Discord. He was actually one of my first like really, really vocal supporters from our stuff, like from the get-go. And then there was like a moment where we had just the longest string of comments going back and forth with each other. I think it might have been on one of the early Crash episodes or maybe one of your videos. I'm not sure, but and someone tried to get in, and you were like, "No, man, get out of here. We're having a conversation."
Yeah. No, I mean, because when you do the whole when you're in a gaming community, obviously, like you're watching each other's stuff and you like each other's stuff, but ideally as YouTubers, we're trying to boost ourselves up slightly and get feedback from fellow creators on what works and what doesn't work. And one of the interesting things I felt about knowing you over the past, I think it's nearly 18 months now.
Is it a year and a half? Holy
well, my channel started. I'm nearly at 2 years on my channel. So yeah, no, but it's just that actually, like we can either do the jokey comment thing, like, because man, I one of the things I admired about your channel was your sort of like your doggedness to complete stuff. And like I know you're a bit of a trophy hunter, but you just played Crash Bandicoot to death. Like absolutely smashed it. And in the end, I was like, what can I keep saying here? And I came up with like, I need to see some coot. Do you know what I mean? It's all It's all about the coot. And that was a running joke for a long time. You have to, you have to bear with me. I had my vaccination booster yesterday, and I'm still a little bit quirky. So if my voice goes, that's why it is. I'm not a crackhead or anything. It's fine.
Oh man, this guy is a troop. You better like the video just for this man, for the trooping he's doing over here, man.
Hell yeah!
Shoot, I would have been sleeping.
It's all for the cause, man. All for the cause.
All for the cause, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, he's a longtime supporter. He's been very vocal. He's actually one of the few people who have like been one of the regulars on the podcast, like, as far as watching it. And I was thinking too, every time I was like, man, this almost feels weird not to have him so far, man. I like tell myself, like, I hope he's not getting mad.
Well, no,
as it goes by.
Only when Ty came first, I was like, what? Like, you choose Ty over me? Like, come on. I'm joking.
Oh my god.
No, I'm joking.
You hear that, Ty?
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah, Ty can suck it.
Yeah, and hurry up with that next episode of the animation. I'm waiting.
Oh my god, we see, because I'm in it. I'm in the new one, so like.
Yeah, and I'm in it too, which is why.
You are. You see, I ask that they don't reveal story details to me, and they don't tell me too much about what's going on. I've seen some clips, But yeah, like I don't like to have too many spoilers because I want my reaction to be right on that. So
All right. Well, I won't tell you who I am.
okay,
I'll leave it. I'll leave
well,
it
I know
still
who
a
you are.
mystery.
I know
Oh,
who you are.
never mind. Never mind then. Well, whatever. I won't say
But
anything more. But
I haven't seen your brain yet, so that's kind of cool.
I keep requesting to be a brown brain because I'm part black, but they're just
Well,
like, no, brains are pink. So I'm like,
no,
whatever, man.
that's the whole. Do you know? Believe it or not, we've spoken about that, and he actually said, no, that's the whole point. Brains are equal in all things. Not that brown people and white people aren't
ah,
equal, and now we've gone
ah.
straight down the rabbit hole. But but yeah, that's the whole brain principle.
Yeah, I get
Yep.
it. I mean, I can't argue with it. It's just I always like would love to just see a random brown brain just amongst all the
Yeah. No,
pink
that would be
ones.
quite amusing. Yeah.
But anyways, we'll keep going here, guys. So like usual, even though we have special guests, we're going to continue. We're going to do the same thing we always do. So we're going to start off with what we're playing, either on our channels or offline, off camera, if possible. And I'll start with you, man. I mean, I know what you're playing, but what else? Let everyone else know what you're playing.
Well, so at the moment, you know, I'm just absolutely crazy for Assassin's Creed and Valhalla at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I clocked in my 90th hour on that yesterday, and
Yeah.
I think I'm about halfway done.
Whew.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, I just did basically because I'm an RPG guy. So I thought, well, I'm going to do a string of RPGs on my channel, and that went from like the Borderlands games, which you could argue aren't RPGs, but they sort of are. But so I ran off the back of Borderlands into Witcher 3 and then into Skyrim. And then I was sort of like, what do I do now? What do I do now? And I'd always stayed really clear of Assassin's Creed because they were like more, the older ones were more sort of like walking simulators. They were like, this is set pieces. Do you know what I mean? Not open world.
I get what you're saying.
But yeah, then I fell in love with Origins. And so, of course, that gave me all of Origins, which was an 80-hour game. Then Odyssey, which was like 130 hours and still not finished. I finished the storyline, but like I'm done. And then Valhalla, and that looks like it's going to be, 160 hours or something. So, and then, believe it or not, yesterday I went into a shop we have in the UK called CEX, which is like a trade-in store, and I bought these three puppies.
Oh.
So we got Black Flag, Unity, and Syndicate.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, but then it is done. But I don't know about you, but as a YouTuber, I'm like, I constantly live in fear that I'm going to run out of things to play on the channel, or things that are going to be fun for the channel. So even like I've tried a few different things. The reason I mention this is so I can segue into what I'm playing offline, off the channel. I like to try and find games that I think are presentable in a YouTube way. So, and I like to live stream. So something like Assassin's Creed works really well with a live stream because you can talk to your people, and you can stop and you can start and you can immerse yourself, or you can take yourself out, and mini games and all different things. So if it's not the same thing. Now, I tried recently streaming Elite Dangerous. Now, Elite Dangerous for me is very special because I used to play the very first Elite, which I think came out in the 80s and early 90s. And I remember bugging my dad. Like, he had to get me the docking computer before I could start the game because I couldn't, because it was like a big hexagonal, I don't even know what the cuboid or some crap, and you had to time the entry, and I could never do it because it was about 7. So Elite Dangerous is obviously the follow-on from that. Now that's a massive. It's not even an RPG; it's a space simulator. It's a space simulator,
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to play that on the channel because I absolutely love it. I mean, I absolutely love it. Like, it sounds silly to describe it, but nothing better than look like setting up, going into your your system maps and setting like a 10 light year trip to pick up some bullshit to bring back to sell for some bullshit or whatever, and then hitting go and then just flying. Like, I love that whole immersion of that, but it just doesn't translate to YouTube because the people watching you are like, okay, is he ever going to do something?
Yeah.
And I'm getting all like, oh my God, I just upgraded my cannons by, this tiny little margin. So yeah, I'm playing that offline because I got a nice joystick and, it's good fun. So yeah, that offline, and I haven't, let me check the name of it. Do you remember a game called This War of Hours?
Yeah, was it a digital title at first? A digital release?
I think so, but I wasn't too when it came out. It came out a little while ago now, a few years ago.
Yeah.
But they gave it away free on the PlayStation.
Did they?
A couple years back, yeah. This Little War of Hours or Mine or something, and it was so dark and and different. And I didn't really get into it. I didn't finish a game or anything like that, but there's a new one that's just come out on Game Pass by the creators of that, and so I'm looking at that as my next offline. I don't think that would translate too well to YouTube, but I also play.
You're talking about that game on Game Pass, and then the little ones, the War of Mine on Game Pass, but then you're gonna play that offline.
Oh right, okay, yeah, no. So like my offline games. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to playing that, and I also play a lot of Total War games.
Ah, yeah, Total War.
Absolutely love Total War. I'm a massive history buff. That's what I studied, and I think I was about 14 when the first Rome Total War came out, and ever since then I've just been hooked on the series. I think they're really, really good representations of ancient battles and the strengths and weaknesses of ancient civilizations and things like that, and that's kind of cool. And plus, it's an awesome engine for the actual battles. I actually presented a couple on the channel, and they went over quite well. So it was always something I wanted to revisit. So, but again, they're not live streaming games. They're there for offline.
Is Total War, is that an RTS series? Okay,
yeah,
that's what I thought.
It's
okay.
No, RTS. It's turn-based.
Okay.
It's turn-based. So you basically every click of the turn button is like 6 months.
Oh.
So you get, and the game can span like 400 or 500 years at 6 month intervals. Okay. And there's also a huge community of modders. There's a huge modding community for it as well. I mean, I don't personally mod anything, but the original Total War way back in the day, you could mod it with a mod called Total Realism, and then that basically turned the vanilla game into exactly how it was, like for the exact tribe names, the exact unit types for each time period. So that I remember that was my first experience of modding, and it was just so like for me, it was brilliant. It was just brilliant.
Cool. Well, let's not forget. I'll fill in the blank because I'm a follower of this man. He's also doing F1 on live stream. He was doing 2020. Now he's transitioned to 2021. Meanwhile, I'm trying to finish F1 2012. I'll get there.
I'm quite jealous.
I'll get there.
I'm quite jealous actually because I was thinking about it. I actually came across 10 and 11. Mm-hmm. Are they PlayStation 3? I think they're that old gen. And yeah, I had 10 and I had 11, and there's some tracks on there that I haven't played for years because obviously the calendar changes and the game is all licensed, so they don't put some of the tracks are non-existent anymore. So like the Turkish Grand Prix, I love that circuit, and I haven't played it for years. So yeah, no, you're lucky man.
Who knew? I didn't even know, but I can tell you that if you ever do dust that off and want to play that, 2011 you can't play online. You probably wouldn't be able to find anyone anyways, but you can't play it online.
This is the first iteration of the game where you can do a co-op career.
That was the one. Yes, that was it.
You can play co-op, but the actual career mode as in cooperation with someone else. This is the first time they've been able
It
to
was
do it.
2011 was the first year they did the co-op career, but you still can't access it because you need to be able to buy the VIP pass, and they delisted it, and
Oh,
you can't
okay. And you
you can't
can't.
buy it
Yeah.
anymore. 2012 you can, so
Well,
I'm doing that right now.
it's fun. It's funny. Like my brother, he need desperately. He was a huge gamer. Grown up, had kids, various issues with life or whatever, and he just can't get into any game anymore. Like he got a PS5, I haven't. I'm like, you need to give that to me because you're not fucking
Yeah,
using it, And I swear to God, when I bought Assassin's Creed Black Flag the other day, we were in the trading shop, and he just got really excited, and I was like, why? And he bought Gran Turismo 5, which, in my opinion, was the best ever.
GT5.
It was
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
defining. Like it was like this really, really, and it's always been like the gold standard to measure any later Gran Turismo releases for a start, and other driving or other racing games that dare to call themselves simulators. So anyway, and I saw it there, and it was £2. So what in American money it'd be about $4.
Yeah, something like that.
And he just got so excited, and so I bought it for him. Long story short, I bought it for him, and he ran home, got his PS3 out, didn't have a kettle lead, so I had to go and find the kettle lead, then turned it on, and then of course nothing is supported. So the only way he can play it is to not connect his PS3 to the internet,
Mm-hmm.
so because the PS3 tries to update and can't. And I must admit, I knew about it when they took it off their, off their support, but I didn't realize actually how brutal that is. This is a fully functioning console with, an entire catalog of games, and no one can use it.
So brutal. I can tell you it is terrible. Like I'll constantly be looking at games. I'm like looking to maybe platinum at some time, and I can't because the servers are closed. And I'm just like, So
you see that? Yeah, no, I mean,
brutal.
For someone like yourself who trophy hunts, it's just got to be
it's
so
brutal. It's brutal. But you know what?
Yeah.
I still play 2011 F1 2011 on my alt account, my alternate account, just so I could say I played it. Like I beat the career and did all that stuff. And so, but anyways, what I'm playing, like I just alluded to, I'm playing F1 2012. All I have is the co-op career left to do. I need to win the Constructors Championship in co-op, and that was proven to be a problem because I have two PS3s that I'm boosting I'm doing it myself, but I can only control one race at a one race car, and the other one gets disqualified from inactivity. So I'll win, but obviously the best other like I'll be a McLaren, for Hamilton. I don't remember his partner. But
2011 would be, was it Jenson Button or Sergio
I was thinking
Perez
Button. I was thinking Button. I haven't seen that name. I think it was Button in that one.
Yeah, Jenson Button.
But then the next best team is Red Bull with Vettel and Weber. And so, and they're always getting like freaking 2 and 3, right? So their points outdo mine. And so I'm still losing. So I was trying to think of like, what can I do to try to like figure this out? So what I would do, what I did was,
don't you have a friend or something?
What the hell is that?
Sorry.
You're my friend, but you live across the ocean.
Yeah. Well, you're casual hardcore gamers, plural.
Yeah, well,
can't your man do it? Can't your man jump in there?
I don't even know if you know how to play F1. I mean, it's a very distinct type of racing, as you know. You can't just jump into F1 and be you're going to be doing just fine.
So you're on controller, right?
Yeah, I'm a controller. I'm not going to buy a wheel for PS3 game.
No. But I mean, do you know from the wheel I use is it has a switch on the front, PS3, PS4.
Oh,
so
really?
It is of that generation.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can, but I mean, unless you're, I mean, my wheel was bought for me. I don't think I would have gone and bought one myself, not knowing how much better it feels with the wheel.
Yeah, I'm not that hardcore. I don't know if I would.
It actually makes it harder, though. That's the thing. It's not. A lot of people feel like with the wheel it's easier, but it isn't. It really isn't.
It probably gets easier once you get to once you master it. It's probably easier than a controller, but
Well, with the rally stuff I'm doing, the World Rally Championship,
Mm-hmm.
that's easier within the controller because with the force feedback belts, you can feel where the wheels are on the road, depending so if you're turning and then the road gives out, so like a dip or something, the wheel goes.
Oh.
So you don't get that response through the controller.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only way that the controller can replicate that is the shoulder buttons to pull into the control pad. So the range of movement is so much less. So it could be less responsive. But when it comes to actually like lap times and stuff on Formula One, the controller is right up there. And especially I'm doing a collaboration on the 2-player career mode with another YouTuber, a good friend of mine, Super 25 Night, and he uses the PlayStation 5 controller. Obviously, he's got PS5. And what is it? He described them with a Hiptronic or something like that, and they actually mimic like the pressure that I would get through the wheel. So they mimic the force feedback. I was just like, man, that's just so.
I was thinking that they probably did that. They probably do that for WRC 10 as well on the PS5. Probably something similar.
I would have thought so.
But yeah, so I'm playing that. I'm also, I also like I have like a bunch of other open games that are open that like I haven't finished yet. There's so many, but I'm not really playing them. But F1 2012 was my main one. I started Demon Souls on the PS3, not the PS5, on the PS3, the OG, and really
the game's so hard.
A lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm gonna stream it actually. I'm gonna stream a new playthrough of that game and
you see that, going on that. You see that, when I was saying about streamable games that are good for the channel, that's one. I would say, in my opinion, you can stream that, and then because it's got sequels, you've always got follow-on content to create.
Yeah,
it takes very little effort to stream as a content creator because you just hit go.
Pretty much,
and it's really good for the channel in terms of watch time.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've been told by not just you, by other people as well. That so I might need to more transition to that or just do more of it in the future.
Well, I started streaming because I was lazy, primarily, and then I realized it was just like, if you want your 4K hours, you've got to work streaming into your schedule because you will. If you create 15-minute videos and 30 people watch it for the minutes, it only adds up to a certain amount of time. But then if you play a game for 2 hours and 4 people watch you, so you got 8 hours right there.
Yeah.
And I just ground it out from that. The minute I saw those numbers, like nearly 2 years ago, I was like, I only really just got my hours a couple of months ago. So it is the way to go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of about it for me. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, we'll move on.
Can I ask you a very quick question? Yeah. Do you, because I'm a bit mad, so do you struggle when you have lots of different games open?
Struggle in what way?
Well, I find it chaotic in my head. If I've got too many different things going on, like you said that you've got several games you're not playing, but they're kind of open. And I know that you're a trophy hunter type of guy. Do you not sit there at work worrying, like, I've got to finish, I've got 5 games open, say, and I don't know, does it sort of tweak your obsessive compulsive element, or like, does it get chaotic for you in your mind?
I've gotten better as I've gotten older. When I was when I was a teenager, because I've been trophy hunting since trophies were a thing. Back in 2009 is when they first started it. I was trophy hunting since then. I'm an OG trophy hunter. And when I was younger playing games, I actually would just stick to one game, and I would not play anything else besides that one game until either it was done or I got the platinum. And even if that meant like having to wait for people to play online for a game, like I would just feel so weird. Like this game's not done yet. Like I do have a little bit of OCD from my mother, who has it really bad at times, and so it comes up during that. But as I gotten older, I've been able to kind of deal with it. I don't want to have. I think I have maybe at this point like 5, but like they're small games. They're not huge games. If they were all huge games, it might be something else. But these are games that once I actually put the time and start doing it, I'll get it done, really quick.
See, I mean, I'm not a trophy hunter, but like on Black Friday, I bought Watch Dogs Legion, which is set in London. I was like, oh my god, I have to play this. I bought the Telltale Definitive Edition of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, so you play that.
Which I never played. And what was the third thing I bought? Oh, I bought WRC 10.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the three I got, and oh my god, and put Watch Dogs on the PlayStation, and then put Walking Dead on the PlayStation, and I just freaked out. I was like, I cannot cope with the three of them there. I can't present them all because I'm not immersed in any single one enough to enjoy the playthrough and present it on the channel and literally, so I'm like, right, okay, they don't exist anymore. Take them off the PlayStation, and we'll finish this, and then we'll do that. So maybe sometimes games for me fall by the wayside because of that. But yeah, no, I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on like unfinished games or how they mess with your head. Like for me, I just can't. I have to. Focus on one, finish it, and then move on to the next one. Otherwise, it just freaks me out, man.
I mean, no, I get it. I mean, because it seems to be the games you're buying and playing are, they're AAA or close to AAA. They're big games. They're really involved. I actually purposely stay away from buying a lot of games that are AAA because of that fact. And
Really?
so there's like a lot of games like that have come out the last couple of years, never bought, and I have no intention of buying because I already have too many games that I haven't even like cracked open, so
exactly.
To avoid that from happening, to avoid that same thing to happen to you, to happen to me, because I could see it happening to me, I just I'm not going to buy it. I'm just not going to buy it.
Okay.
So what I end up buying are like smaller titles, indie titles, AA titles at the most. And then, or racing games. Racing games are always nice to play. I can kind of turn my brain off. They're pretty cathartic or lethargic.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So I'll buy those, even if they're AAA racing games. I'll still buy those. But as far as like, buying a whole bunch of open world RPG titles, stuff like that, like I'm not going to do that to myself because I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen to me.
I'm not going to do that to myself.
No, I'm not going to do that to myself, man. Like, I'm not going to do it unless like something like, unless I hear like, oh, the servers are going to go down like in this month, because that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, fuck, everything's got to go to the wayside for this. Like everything's got to make a shot. Like Shadows of Mordor, the servers were going to get closed.
Okay.
And so that meant some DLC trophies were going to be unobtainable. And so I was like, crap. So I had like everything shut down. We're playing Shadows of Mordor.
Shadows of Mordor was one that I saw it. It came up free on PS Plus. And I was like, oh, no, don't even look at it because it's going to be yet another game that I'm going to have to complete. And I just let that one go. I was like, no, I'm out.
Yeah. There are some games where like I'll just redeem, but I'll just leave. I'll redeem it, but I'll just leave it alone after that. I won't download it. I won't do anything.
Oh no, that's what I do. I just add to library.
I'll just add to the library and then forget. I forget I did it.
Forget you have it. Yeah, exactly that.
But yeah, so but I appreciate you asking that question. I mean, it's rough. I understand what you're saying. But I've had to get better at it as I've gotten older, and
because you get to a weird, like I don't know about you, but I sometimes get in a weird situation where I get pissed off at my hobby. Like, because my hobby has become too demanding of me. Do you know what I mean? I find my head go, I'm like staring at my PlayStation home screen, like angry. Like, what? Like, this is not what it's for. Like, so let's just get rid of those couple of games. So they're not realistically achievable right now. And I'll finish this and then we'll see where we're at.
Yeah, it's all about...
I have this sort of working relationship with my PlayStation.
It's all about completing things. I mean, it helps with your mental. I've heard it helps with your mental health, and not just with games, with anything. Like if you just leave a whole bunch of unfinished projects or tasks or anything, just if you don't finish anything, you never get a sense of completion. You never get a sense that you did something.
Exactly.
You completed something, and I feel like the more you complete things fully, it makes you feel good about yourself. You feel really good, and so I mean, it's good. It's good that you recognize that you're doing what you can. But yeah. Anyways, for the sake of conversation and time, we'll move on here. So I presented Rob with a funny question today, last night, and I know he probably got 2 cents. That's why I asked him. So the fun question for the day is, what is the worst racing game we've ever played? I'll go first real quick because Let me tell you something. So, like I said, I buy a lot of indie games that are usually on sale. They're like a couple bucks, and sometimes I buy them because I like it's a racing game. I can just let it play, like listen to some YouTube, and then also and like the cream of the the little cherry on top is like it's an easy platinum. So like whatever. But I started one of these, and I had a feeling I was going to regret it. But now I don't have regret. I just have shame and embarrassment. So
Why?
it's a game called Meow Motors.
Oh my god. Okay, I already know. You don't even need to say anything. I know
So
what
it
you're.
is a cat-based racing game where all the characters are cats. And I think it was a mobile game that got
Oh my.
translated because
Oh no.
some of the
Come on.
trophy descriptions don't have proper English.
Yeah, it's straight out of Google Play.
It probably is right out of Google Play. Probably
Yeah, it
from a
was.
Chinese developer.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let's see what happens. It was like $2 on the PlayStation Store. And I started it and
Oh
I
my
was like,
god.
oh no, what have I done?
Yeah, no. Do you know what? You see, this is a whole other conversation about indie. One of your podcasts previously, you were talking about is Game Pass bad for indie developers, and yes, I think it is, but there's so much opportunity for indie developers to put their stuff out there that unfortunately I actually think that there's not enough like quality control. Another really good friend of ours, our Mr. Gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember he did a video recently? He played the worst zombie game on Steam,
Oh, I think I
and
remember that.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and like he should get his money back. Like that's how bad it was. I mean, it made for a funny
It was
video,
hilarious.
but yeah, but at the same time, like there's an element of quality control that should go into this.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so I find sometimes those little cheesy indie games, I find
Yeah.
yes.
And sometimes I kind of like okay, so I don't have like a proper computer to play anything on Steam or
Hmm.
itch.io or anything like that. But
Hmm.
a lot of people do. We have a couple of our fellow creators on our
Hmm.
Discord that do. That's basically their channel, right? And I get
Yeah.
it. I get it. It's free most of the time, or at dirt cheap. A lot of us
Hmm.
don't have the funds to be buying the AAA titles on a regular basis. I get it.
Hmm.
And it gives the creator some exposure that they wouldn't get otherwise. But
Well,
like you were saying,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
some
yeah.
of that quality control, I'm just like, it's
I
like
mean,
I don't,
that's
man,
the
I don't
thing.
know.
You can be. I mean, I like Hot Lettuce. I think he's amazing with his
Oh yeah,
SEOs.
yeah, he's great too.
And like but he obviously researches the game. Obviously, you got to do your work, man. You can't just flick something on, like hit record and go. Like you got to do your research. Which is stand out. Which is
Hmm.
coming through and which is good, and and then they can pay. They can do really well. And you, as a YouTuber, you're going to get more results playing those games because people are going to search for them because they're doing their research before playing a title. So, yeah, like they are good for channels. I just don't think I could wade through
Yeah, I mean they're good
as many as it takes.
it's like they're good for channels, but like if we didn't have a channel, would you ever have played it? It's like
No,
I don't think so.
no,
I mean,
no
most
way.
of them are either too short or they're just too by the books. Even all the because like the biggest thing is for horror games, I get it, and it's like they're kind of like dime a dozen, and it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah. Well, I mean, anyone
I
can
don't
make a
know.
jump scare.
Yeah, anyone can do a jump
Anyone can
scare.
make a jump scare. Let's
Anybody.
put it that way. I
Like
mean, and I'm not a horror game fan. I don't like horror games.
neither
I
do
like
I. Yeah.
I like horror games that are set. Like I like zombie genre games and
Hmm.
niche little
Yeah.
different things. And I played a vampire game which was pretty cool. But yeah, no, I'm not a jump scare guy.
Yeah, but obviously I watch some people like I watch Hazaween, one of our more
Oh,
recent
she's brilliant.
additions, and she's
I
great
love her.
too. Shout out to you, Hazaween.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like she plays so many horror games, indie horror games, and I'm like, I don't, I can't,
But
I just can't,
but the thing is I was talking to her a couple of days ago, and the thing is, she's my definition of what a YouTuber is. The game doesn't matter. Okay, if you want to be a YouTuber, in my opinion, the game doesn't matter. It's your personality alongside the game. So, like what she brings is herself alongside a game. So basically, she's using the game to inspire bits of her personality to come out. So that's what makes the overall video fun to watch. Because I'm not watching it for the game. I'm watching it for her reactions to the game. And because she's smart and she's, funny, that the whole package works. That's why I personally don't watch YouTubers that don't have audio or don't have, or video or whatever. I don't like watching gameplay videos because I'll just go and buy the game myself. So that's where I think Itch.io is good, because it highlights the YouTuber because you're getting their personality. Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. I would argue that I think it's up to the person to let out their personality. Even if the game can do as much as it can, but if the person either doesn't want to, or is too shy or reserved or whatever have you, or just doesn't show their video, nothing happens.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a side point. We can have another podcast where we talk about just being a YouTuber.
Oh yeah, man, I'm sorry. I'll just
because I know we can definitely get into that, no problem. But anyways, I love to know.
Oh right, yeah. Sorry.
What is the worst racing game you have ever played?
Wipeout.
Wipeout.
I hate it. Right now, I thought long and hard about this because Wipeout on the PS1 was one of those titles where I looked at it and it looks so cool. Right? It's like it just looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then the mechanics just were shit. Like all you did was bang into the sides. Do you remember? I don't know about you, but like the later iterations of the game, I haven't tried, but I'm sure if they fixed it. But I'm talking about the original Wipeout for the PS1. So, what do you want for Christmas, Rob? Well, I want Wipeout, mummy. And then she went out and bought me a Wipeout, and I swear I don't even think I finished the race. It was that frustrating. It was just so bad, the mechanics. And yeah, so I did put some thought into it. You seem quite unimpressed by that answer.
I was expecting it, honestly. Yeah. I mean, I never played a Wipeout game. It wasn't my cup of tea.
That's why you don't understand.
It wasn't. Yeah, I don't understand. Well, I don't understand your specific issue you had, but I can understand when you play a game and it immediately is just like shit. Like it's just like either from the camera or the controls, or just like you do something that you would do in any other game, and it doesn't happen in this game. You're like, this is not okay.
That is exactly it. Like the nose of the craft would hit the floor, and there was no, because obviously they're flying as opposed to rolling, so there was no up and down type of deal. Even though the tracks it just didn't work for me at all. It was the most frustrating experience I've ever had with a racing game.
Yeah, gosh, I can't think of that many games that's happened to me, but I know what happened to me when I played Sonic 06 for the first time. I hope you've never played that in your life, because if you have,
I think is that the one where it's kind of open world.
Yeah,
and like I think I bought my daughter. I think my daughter was born 2009. I think we bought it actually.
Oh gosh!
And is it the one where there's like a dock and he's running around on a dock? And then you have to talk.
There is a dock. Yes, there is a dock.
Yeah, and oh man, I remember it just being so tough to beat. It was impossible to beat. It was like, this is in the realms of impossibility. Yeah.
So it's like for all you racing fans out there, imagine open world. Oh, well, it's not even open world. It's just like there's hub areas, but it's not an open world game. But imagine an 8 to 10 hour game, except all you do is drive the Monaco race course over and over again for 8 to 10 hours. And I say that because the challenge is not in the game. It is in the mechanics and everything around it that is constantly keeping you back from doing what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And so like with Monaco, obviously, like you and I discussed, it's not even the racers, it's the environment that you have. Like, that's so hard about that track, as racing fans know. And that's why I hate it with all my heart. And I don't care. I don't care if it's one of the crown jewels of the tour.
Yeah,
that track can go die in a ditch.
In the next iteration, it should be a bit easier, because the new regulations are smalling down the cars. They're not as wide as they are now. So hopefully, because if you look at the evolution of Formula One cars, over the years. Like the original Formula One cars that went around Monaco were like arrows as opposed to
Hmm.
ships.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
they're like 2 meters wide, man. Try getting that down a narrow back,
Hmm.
on the French Riviera. Like it's tough.
It's the worst. Yeah, so that's basically what Sonic 06 is. But like that game, I played it, oh gosh, I played it like in 2013 or 12 or whatever for the first time ever because I just knew it. I want to play a whole bunch of bad games. No reason. I just want to play a bunch of bad games. And I played that first. And me my I was working at GameStop, like your EB games. Or game.co, that QQ or
Game,
whatever. Game. Sorry,
game.co.uk.
your game.co. I was working at our GameStop, our US game store, and my manager was like, "You sure? You sure you want to play this?" And I was like, "Give me that." And so I did. I have never been broken faster by
Yeah,
any other game. Like the camera. I was just moving around the camera as you do when you just kind of get situated with the game, and this is outrageous.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nothing made any sense.
And you get that feeling of indignation. You're like, this is unacceptable. This is Sonic. Like, I expect a certain level of quality here. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're
Well,
putting the brand Sonic the Hedgehog alongside this garbage. Like, it's
after
not
after
okay.
well, for me, after 1998, Sonic kind of just went off the rails. I know there's been some good hits here and there over the years,
No,
but honestly, man, I have
I
never
mean,
been that
I've never.
impressed.
I mean, I've not played a Sonic game since Sonic, the original two Sonics, because
Yeah,
this is like my whole beef with Nintendo. I mean, like you said, we probably need 4 podcasts. But I hate Nintendo. I can't stand Nintendo, and anyone that plays Nintendo, quite frankly. So yeah, I said it because
damn.
it's the same it's the same 6 characters. It was 25 years ago, and that's kind of why I left the Sonic franchise alone. Because the only game I think I've seen where I like the progression is Crash Bandicoot,
Hmm.
because they've taken an original concept and completely changed it, but with the original characters to make something modern and fun and exciting. Um, but yeah, no, like leave it alone, man. How many Mario Karts can you have?
Not
Like,
enough.
it's Mario Kart 8,921. Like,
Oh man. Smash that dislike button.
yeah,
Smash it. Anyways, but it was good to hear your thoughts. I mean, I like the deep cuts when it comes to like providing examples for games. I remember Ty,
mm,
I asked him like a game that he liked. He said Harvest Moon. I was like, shoot, man, I wasn't expecting to hear that, but I
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. I want to hear. I like to hear deep cuts. Like I love to see gamers have a breadth or a
Yeah.
history of all types of games. It's the most boring thing is when it's just they're just a mainstream gamer. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
they just play like COD, Battlefield, GTA, and like maybe I don't know, maybe some racing game that's
We
hot or
see. I
whatever.
mean, yeah. Don't get me started on things like COD.
And it's rough. It's just like
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
like COD is whatever. I don't have any personal vendettas against it, but it's just boring when that's all you do, or that's
Well,
all
no,
you know about.
right. Well, I mean, like for me, I just don't see how people don't see the scam. You get charged, $80 every year for the same game, and you just. I mean, I just say it's a joke to Ty, but like you're a bitch for skins. So it's like the only purpose for this game is to juice you for more money, and it's just like it's like the heroin addict of games. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. Smash that dislike button.
Yeah.
We don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care what you think.
And go easy for you. You're the
Yeah,
guest.
yeah,
How about this? You do a podcast and I'll be on it, and then you can be like,
yeah,
smash that dislike button.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, anyways, yeah, I appreciate it. But anyways, we're gonna kind of continue on to the main
Go on,
topic
go
here.
for
So
it.
as most of you guys know, anyone who's watched anything from Rob knows that he predominantly plays RPGs. It's his love, bread and butter. He's played, like he's already said, he did Witcher 3, he did Fallout. Well, he tried Fallout, didn't like it, but he did Fallout New Vegas, love that.
Yeah,
And
love
then
Vegas,
and then
New
did
Vegas.
Skyrim, love that. I was surprised you haven't even played it, being such an RPG buff.
Well,
Um,
yeah,
Hold on. Let me
yeah, yeah,
run
yeah.
do the
Yeah, no,
rundown
you're
here.
good, you're good,
And
you're good.
then he also did Vampire, which is a smaller scale RPG.
That was
Um,
amazing.
and then you had a good time with that as well. And obviously, I think I already said The Witcher, but yeah, and of course, the Assassin's Creed, Origins. Odyssey and Valhalla, and you're going backwards to Syndicate. I would argue Syndicate is kind of where they started kind of testing the RPG stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, it gets into what you're talking about, more of like, I mean, they're open world games. Like 4 is an open world game for sure,
Black
but it's not
Flag,
an
yeah.
but it's not an RPG.
No,
But it
no.
is an open world game, so you'll still get your open world itch. But
Yeah, yeah.
anyways, that's what it was to do. And so I thought it'd be fun and interesting to talk about, your history with RPGs. Does it go back a long time, or was something more recent? Kind of like what draws you to it, man? Like, I mean, I kind
Okay.
of have an idea, but I'd love to
Well,
hear
I
it just
mean,
straight from you.
I think for me, I like content. I consume content. So like I consume media. I will love a box set. When I was a kid, I would consume comic books. I would just consume, and I think it starts with, I want something with a really intricate storyline. I want that massive hit of make believe, and I want it as prolonged as possible. So, and as a child, who doesn't like, goblins and elves and wizards and that kind of stuff. And I remember getting Baldur's Gate.
Oh yeah, Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, and I can't remember what I must have been about 8 years old, something like that. The original Baldur's Gate. Couldn't play it in my life. Never got
Mm.
past a certain point. Restart, new characters, reading all the information. Still couldn't get the right team together, like the right balance. And the game was unforgiving as hell. I mean, and that was it. If you couldn't get past this point, you couldn't get past it. And I remember being really disappointed because I never finished it. But I loved that it beat me. It was something about the fact that it beat me that I don't know. I kind of liked, and I responded to that challenge. So then from Baldur's Gate, it went into like Final Fantasy series. Absolutely. Oh my god! I mean, my first Final Fantasy was actually 8. Most people of my generation, it was 7.
Mm.
But for me, Final Fantasy 8 got me, like Squall and the storytelling. Like, I mean, I know for me, I'm not really a massive fan of Japanese culture. I mean, I am, but you know, but I'm not like what is it? You guys, what are they? You have a
Like
guy.
an otaku.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's just not me. Like I'm not into anime. It's just not my cup of tea. But Final Fantasy was just enough of that wrapped up in. I mean, I remember I had it on 4 discs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
4 discs.
Back in the day, you kids don't know.
I remember having a scratch on disc 4, and
Oh no.
I used to leave it. I mean, this is like second or third playthrough.
Uh-huh.
I used to leave the disc playing in the PlayStation when I went to school for 8 hours.
Oh
And
gosh.
because it would skip really slowly through the opening cutscene of the disc.
Uh-huh.
So, like, when I got home from school, it was nearly finished. Like,
Not even done?
Not even done. That's how obsessed I was with this game. And, you take you make fun of me for it, which I love. I love the grind. I live for the grind.
He lives for the
I
grind, people.
live for the
That's not a
grind.
joke. That's not
And,
a
like,
joke.
But like even today on like modern RPGs / action adventure or whatever, the grind is not as it used to be. I remember Final Fantasy X. If you wanted to do something, you had to collect like 250 dark matter. Dark matters, and they only were dropped by beasts from the arena. And it was only like a 1 in 16 chance. Like you would get one. And I mean,
man.
like, that's a grind, yeah. Like
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed ain't a grind. There's nothing on that. Like, you know what I mean? And and then when you did it, you got no trophy. All you got was your mates going, "Shit, you did it."
That's it.
That's it. Like, well done, high five, y'all. And that's it. And there's something oddly like self-harming about it. Like, I think. But yeah, I think the main answer to the question is I love the epic storyline, the epic scale. Especially now as a culture, now we We want more backstory all the time. You know, like, oh, I loved Game of Thrones, so now we've got we've got the sequel, the prequels coming out, and we have to consume more and more and more. And I think RPGs were the original sort of teaser at mass consumption of an IP. So I think that's probably why.
Wow. I mean, I kind of had a feeling that was, that might be why, because a lot of people kind of share the same sentiments who are huge RPG guys.
I mean, there's a whole other element to it. I just wanted to keep my answer relatively short, but also the freedom of choice. Like now this is where Skyrim was so great, because you can legit play it any way you want. You can play as a mage, you can play, and all options are acceptable. Like, you're not gonna struggle. You might struggle during the game, but you're not. If, say, you picked, I don't know, a Breton thief or something, like really opposite ends of the character setup spectrum, you could still beat the game. It gives you all those different options. And the one thing I love about original RPGs, not modern day RPGs, because they don't do it, but original old school RPGs, you could legit miss something and it wouldn't bite you in the arse for another 20 hours. And the game would let you play on, man. And then you realize, shit, I have to start again. Not I have to go back or I have to walk across this map. Like, legit, you have to start again. And I remember feeling, again, it's like the self-harming. Like, it's like, that's so brutal. But now, because the game has done it to me, I want to go back and do it. Because fuck you, game.
Yeah, I feel like I would be stubborn enough to just be like, you know what, you're not. I wouldn't enjoy it like you, but I would be. My thought would just be like, I can't let you beat me like this.
Oh no,
you're not going to beat me.
Let me get this. Let me get this clear. It's not it's like so picking at a scab. It's not an enjoyment. It's kind of like a,
okay.
like that. I must do this type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Like, I can't resist. I have to do it.
Well, I mean, as I've already alluded to, I don't like Nintendo particularly. But like when I was probably about 12 or 13, someone was like, dude, you got to play Ocarina of Time. Lent me is in Nintendo 64 and everything. And same shit happened in that. I missed the horse. I missed Epona. And like, that's it. Like, it was over. And I was like, okay, like, way to blow a raspberry in my face, Nintendo, you bitch. Like,
but then you're like, all right, well, because I got to start a new game.
Yeah, exactly. That was it.
Go get Epona.
No, you see, Nintendo didn't get the restart. Like, that was it. You can take this back.
Oh, no. That was your last straw, Nintendo.
Yeah, that was it. I tried. I let you off. Like,
I mean, the closest I've had to something like that was so I play Final Fantasy 13, everyone's worst one.
Oh, I gave up after 10.
Yeah. Well, hey, whatever. 13 is actually the only one I've actually played and beaten.
Have they? Is it still? Because I didn't like the real world battles. I liked it when it would snap into a battle mode, so you'd get a random encounter, and then was it 11 or 12? One of them I bought, and the baddies, the enemies on the field, were there already, and that was it.
Yeah,
I like the old menu system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It was kind of because whenever I see that, it reminds me of Pokemon.
Yeah, same kick, man.
In the grass or whatever is like, oh, you got caught. Yeah, well, 13 had them where they're already there. You could try to like avoid them.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, so I was playing it obviously, and it had trophies. I was trying to get the trophies and everything, and there's like a trophy to get, like, I think it's like hold every accessory in the game or whatever, or just own one. But there were some you could have missed in earlier chapters, and there's no chapter select or anything. There's no going back once you get past a certain point in the game. Actually, no, I think there's no point going back at all in any chapter.
So what game is this?
Final Fantasy 13 still.
Oh, okay.
This is Final Fantasy 13. So I'm like, I was reading the trophy guide and I was like looking at all the accessories and I was like, oh my gosh, please don't tell me I missed something. So I was checking my inventory, going through the whole thing, just like, please God, don't, like, please don't do this to me.
Yeah,
And
you
then I
know.
was like, I hadn't missed anything yet. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. And so I just kept following the guide to make sure I didn't miss anything, like any unique items that there's only one of. And so
Yeah.
I got everything. But then even after that, um once you get like past, I don't know, chapter 10 or whatever, you finally get open to like an open field where you can just fight people over and over, or fight enemies over and over again. They respawn, and one of them is the adamantoise, the big old giant dinosaur tortoise things.
Yeah, the big
You know what I'm
giant.
talking about. Yeah, they're a
Yeah.
staple in all the games. So that one dropped an ingot, and not all the time, but sometimes dropped an ingot, and you would have to collect so many of those to then turn into a rare, unique item.
Oh, it's the dark
And
matter situation all over again.
that was where the grind began for me. And the
In
grind
chapter
was
10,
real.
like that's what I
Yeah,
mean.
in chapter 10, but that's when the grind began, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, like I was done with the game. I beat it. All my characters like are like high level or
That is
max level,
exactly what happened with the Dark
and
Matters. It was done. The game was finished, but it
mm-hmm.
then got another 100 hours out of me.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know
that's
how
just
many he got out of me.
genius. I've finished
I
the
don't know.
story, and you've got another 100 hours out of me.
I don't know how many it added to me. I don't know, but my ending runtime was like it was either 100 or over 100, but this is back in 2010, so like that meant something more then than it does now.
Yeah.
But I was done after like 60. The
Excuse
game
me.
was over at like 60 hours though. But they got like at least another 40 out of me for suckers like me who need to get all the trophies and all the accessories just
Yeah.
for that. So the teasing comes from a place of relation because I've been there.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
Oh, I've been there.
interestingly, when as you were saying all that, all I could think was trophy guide. Like the
Yep.
old school RPGs, there was no help. Like,
Oh
you know,
yeah, yeah.
there was no internet. Like,
And I've been there too, because I mean, I may be younger than you, but I do remember times before it was widespread internet, and I didn't have a problem in an RPG, but I had a problem in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3.
hmm
In the Canada level, it would be etched in my brain. So old school Tony Hawk games, there's like 10
yeah,
things to do per level. There was
tape,
one,
like
tape, score,
tape,
combo, get
score,
collect skate.
combo. Yeah.
Yeah. There was one where you had to ollie. It said ollie over the pool, and I could not for the life of me figure out which pool it was. I went to all the pools that I could find, and I was like, I am
Yeah.
ollieing over this shit, and nothing's
Yeah.
happening. And it would drive me to tears. I'm not even like I was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
I was a kid. And so back of the manual, when you took out the manual, you could call the toll free for tips and hints, and
Oh my god.
I almost legit called it like would have had to pay for the toll and everything.
Yeah, no, shouldn't. But your mum's gonna kick your ass for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I tried to talk to her into it too, and I think she almost let me. But when I called it, I didn't understand. It was so weird to navigate and confusing. Like I didn't get anywhere
Yeah.
with it. But that's how desperate I got. I am a desperate man. I have no shame.
Well, I
Like
mean,
people,
legit. I'm just watching a series on Netflix called The High Score, which is just all about this. Like the
Donkey
original
Kong.
game. Like, huh? Yeah. So
Oh
there's
wait,
one episode about the High Score on Netflix.
huh?
It's the first episode's about Atari and
Mm.
this, that, and the other, and then the second episode was about Nintendo, the early NES, and then SNES, and they had the game counselors. They were legit game counselors. And they interview a bunch of them, and they were taken on because games like Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, like there was no cheat sheets, there was no guides, and there was numbers you could ring and talk to someone, and they would talk you through it. I remember Link's Awakening. I had that on the Game Boy. I never beat it ever. Like I couldn't beat it. Like I don't understand it. Like, but there was something about it. I loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there was an actual thing like game counselors where you could phone and
Wow, I did not know that. That was fascinating to
yeah,
know.
look
Though.
it
I
up.
mean,
It is
I
quite
don't.
interesting.
I'm not surprised because especially with like those old school, those old school computer games, those old RTSs or
hmm
like Total War. Sometimes depending on what game it is, it can either be really user friendly or it could be the most hardest thing to navigate on the planet.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to get past the menu screen,
Yeah,
because like you're like, I don't know what is going on. That's why I don't mess with those games. To this day, I don't. Like, I don't even care how easy they're supposed to be for newbies.
Mhm.
I don't fuck with them. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's just not my brain. It's not my thing. Like, I was like, give me a mascot 3D platformer and I
Yeah.
will be happy. I don't even care how
Yeah, yeah,
bad
yeah.
it is. Just give me that. That's what
So
I grew up on,
you're the
and I'll be
guy.
happy.
You're the guy with Windows 95. You didn't delete the paperclip.
No, no, I kept on the
You
paperclip.
used to talk
Long,
to the
long live,
paperclip. Help
long
me,
live Clippy.
help me, paperclip.
Long
I'm
live
stuck.
Clippy, man. Yeah, man. So I mean, I grew up at a rudimentary time, along with you. I was just a little bit younger,
Yeah, yeah, no.
um, but
I
I
think,
grew up with it none all the same.
yeah. So
And
yeah, I think that's
oh
pretty
man.
much covered why I love RPGs.
Well, if you could, um, you played a lot of RPGs. I mean, as it started from a young age. It seems
Hmm.
it's not just something recent. Is there like even if you don't play it, is there one that you hold over above all others?
Yes, Final Fantasy
That's
X.
10. All right.
That's
The
the
first one or
that's
10
the
too?
no, no, the first one, 10.
10, okay,
You know the
okay.
one with the with the water sport instead of the
Yeah,
car.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I can't even remember the story. Like, it's one with Titus, right?
Yes.
It was just I played I played 8, 9, and 10. I loved 8, but ten was PS2.
Yes.
So 10 10 was where it started to really pop for like graphic capability,
Hmm.
and well I felt that they started to pop. I legit put 240 hours into that game. It's probably the longest amount of time I've ever put into an RPG.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I mean that's probably actually pretty crap actually, because I know like my dad, for example, he's put 500 hours into his Skyrim account.
God.
Um,
Actually, you know what? I
yeah,
believe it. I believe it. I believe it. I'm not even surprised. I believe it.
yeah,
I believe it.
easy.
Yeah,
And
easy.
still stuff to do.
Hmm.
My Skyrim playthrough was relatively reserved actually, because I just called time on it. I was like, right, I'm running around doing all this stuff, and eventually it's getting boring for the channel. So, it just got moved on. But I missed those iconic. I missed Skyrim, and I missed Witcher 3 when they first came out. So they were a tremendous joy to play. And if it wasn't for Witcher 3, probably wouldn't actually have a continual channel now,
Hmm.
because that really changed the scope of my channel, to a sort of an RPG channel, because our Mister and another one of my long term supporters, Jacques, what's better, Skyrim or Witcher 3? So had to answer the question. Um, yeah, so I had both of them on the channel for that very reason, so I could answer the question. Um, and of course, being able to play such iconic games after the fact kind of generates interest as well. Um, so yeah, they were really cool.
Awesome, man. I mean, I wish I could kind of have as much of a breadth of knowledge RPGs as you do. Like I said, I grew up on the
But you know
3D.
the sorry, dude, to interrupt you. The thing is real true RPG fans would look at me and go, "Who the fuck's this guy?" That's the scope of them I love so much.
Hmm.
Like there are not enough hours in the day and enough years in a lifetime to fully, you know, that. And and again, I like that.
Yeah,
It's the never ending story. It's the Lord of the Rings of the gaming world. It's
pretty
the
much. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
so like if you're looking at iconic fantasy books, Lord of the Rings or the Song of Ice and Fire books. I'm a big reader as well, so I that's probably another reason why I quite like RPGs, because there's so much. You can play through The Witcher and you can read every little scroll or bulletin and all the rest of it, and that will legit add 50 hours to the game. So when you're playing it, it's how immersed do I want to be? Do I want to read all the like the backstory of each monster or whatever? Keep you occupied for years, like picking apart this world. and that's what I quite like. It's not, and it's the same price as Call of Duty. Like, what are you gonna do?
Well, at
Come
that
on.
point, I mean, I guess it becomes a opinion of what we look at as value. But
Exactly.
that's a different discussion.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
I mean, I have played a couple RPGs, nowhere near as much as you, but so I had played Fallout 3 and New Vegas, along with you. I played those well after the fact, just like you did.
Same. Yeah.
I had played, I think I played 3 back in 2011 or 2012. It came out 2008, so I was like way behind. And then I played New Vegas after that, which came out like 2 years after that, so I was even farther behind. And I also played Final Fantasy 13, like I mentioned. But as far as like a true RPGs like that, I haven't. I want to. It's not that I'm avoiding them. They're all games I would want to play, and I would love to play Witcher. I would love to like every RPG you played so far. I have it on my radar, like Vampire, Witcher 3,
Oh,
Skyrim. All that.
Vampire came out of nowhere. Like, it was free,
Yeah, it
and
was.
I did a bit of research on it, and I was like, oh, like the studio made a load of fuck ups with it, and then they crowdfunded, and if they didn't, and then they crowdfunded just enough to polish it to a playable level, and man, I had such a good time in that game. I was
Yeah, it was a bit
so
of a sleeper hit, but it was
yeah,
so
yeah,
good.
yeah, for sure. Like, and I was like, oh my god, I paid £4, £4 for it. It was free, and I
Hmm.
missed it, and then I paid £4. I think something really cheap, and it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just like, yeah,
But it was a
that
really good
was
game. Yeah, it was like one of those like double A type of games, like a
yeah,
double A
and
style
that
game.
game also kind of proved to me, how you can misjudge something
Hmm.
as well. Like, it didn't have to be AAA with AAA money and AAA backing.
Yeah,
Big companies, and it can just hit the spot just as much. Concept was amazing. The tone of it was brilliant. The setting, the smoke, the fog, all that kind of stuff, just
yeah. I mean,
top
we'll have to
notch
see
and
if
really challenging as well.
we'll have to see if enough, if it was able to make up enough money, with after they clean everything up to maybe get a sequel one day. Um,
I think it was on the cards, but I don't think it'll happen.
we'll see. I mean, crazier things have happened.
Mm,
I mean, I just read just yesterday, or no, today. Well, yeah, today that the Wolf Among Us season 2 is coming still. From
really?
a Telltale. Who would have thought?
Oh wow!
Yeah, who would have thought? And I don't remember a game called Lords of the Fallen. It was
No.
like an art. It was like a Souls like, but like for beginners. Like if you're trying to ease yourself into the Souls genre, that's a game to start with.
Okay.
And it's somehow getting a sequel. There's other like just games have gotten sequels. I would have never thought we got to get a sequel. So
Yeah,
you know what?
yeah,
Maybe one day. Um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I will say I haven't had a huge history of RPGs, but like I appreciate world building all the same, and it's
Oh
really
yeah,
fun that and I still get to have it nowhere near the scale of RPG games, but I still get it in my action adventure games. Like
yeah,
the
yeah.
Batman Arkham series is a great example of
Oh, I
that,
love that series.
and
So I
actually
mean, I played all of those. I absolutely adored them.
yeah,
I mean, Rocksteady showed the whole world how to make fucking
they did
superhero games,
and
man. Seriously.
I haven't played the last one, but I played Asylum City and Origins, and it's
Hmm.
actually Asylum that kind of gave me the breadth of Batman knowledge that I actually have.
Hmm.
Um, so because you can collect all the collectibles and all that stuff, and it gives you like facts into all the every character, well not
Hmm.
every, but like a lot of the villains and
Hmm.
heroes and other characters in through the comics, and you could see where you could do to read like where their first issue was,
Yeah.
and like how long ago that was, and about backstory behind them, and I read all of that stuff, every single one of
Yeah,
those,
yeah, yeah.
and by
On
the
the
time,
data bank. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then by the time Dark Knight Dark Knight Rises, no, Dark Knight Returns, the third one with Bane, um
Oh, Rises. Yeah.
is it Rises? Okay, Dark Knight
Dark
Rises.
Knight Rises.
Um, and then Talia al Ghul betrays him,
Uh huh.
betrays Bruce. Like I was watching it with my brother or someone, and he had no idea who Talia was. But from me playing the Batman games, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
know exactly who she is,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
I know exactly why she betrayed him. Like it's like a love lost
yeah.
thing and all that stuff. And I was like, it made so much sense to me. And I
yeah,
owe those games to being able to relate to that, to
yeah,
understand
yeah.
that, because I'm not one. I really hate going into to really deep, rich franchises midway through. I hate doing that. I try to avoid as much as I
Hmm.
can because I,
Hmm.
I I I don't like it when people come into that and they're like, it's not really the best feeling to have, like the best thing to do. But like when people jump into a deepened series, we'll say halfway through, and they'll be like we'll say Call of Duty. We'll use that one as a scapegoat for the day, and they'll be like, "Oh
Hmm.
yeah, man, I love Infinite Warfare, man. It's so good, so great." But
So you crazy?
they ain't played any of the other ones before, and they're like,
Infinite Warfare.
you're not a real fan. You're not a real
Yeah,
fan. You don't know Modern Warfare
but
2 and 3. Like,
you see that. Yeah, I mean, it's the same with the Assassin's Creed series. Like, I asked like 5, 6 different people who were like, "You gotta play it." I was like, "But where do I start with this?" Like, and that's why it settled on Origins, because Origins was where they were like, right, let's go as RPG as we can with this. Um, and so that's why I went Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, and then now I'm gonna go back and play the more action adventure couple,
hmm
um, because I want to. So yeah, people said if you because to jump into that mid, I mean, Assassin's Creed have been around forever,
Yeah.
and I hadn't played a single one.
hmm
So like, who am I to just jump in? But yeah, no, Origins was the right one for that.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
now I'm playing the back catalog.
I mean, I know what I was saying. I was like, I mean, I know you were doing kind of the same thing, but not exactly. Because for one, you researched it and you asked. Second,
Hmm.
you went to the one, like you said, made sense. And I thought the same thing too. I was like, okay, he's an RPG guy.
Yeah.
Let's play the RPG ones. Those are the RPG ones. That makes sense. I
Uh
still
huh.
would agree that you probably should at least play, not maybe finish, but play the other ones.
Mm.
Just so,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the thing I personally like is that I like sometimes playing, like, especially if it's an old franchise. Like I've actually been enjoying the F1, like starting from, I know it goes back farther, but like for the PS3 era, 2010 was the first.
Oh no,
Well,
it
actually,
doesn't. It doesn't go
oh,
back
it doesn't?
further.
I thought there was an '09 and '08.
No, they came back.
Okay,
2010 was
cool.
the
Well,
first one.
2010 it is. But it's fun to play
Hmm.
that, and then by the time I get to 2021, I'm gonna just be like, man, I can actually now seen this grow, and just
Yeah. Yeah.
improve and get better and better before my eyes, and that's why I like actually starting from the first of a franchise, because
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
get to
Yeah.
watch and I get to just appreciate how much better. Because like Assassin's Creed 1, if you ever play that again, you probably won't because it's on PS3, and I don't know if you want to go that far back, but you can't swim. You
Probably
can't
not.
swim in that one. It's-
Oh
and
man.
like there's no economy, there's nothing. All you do is basically that one, how you said it was walking simulator, that one is basically a walking simulator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it came out
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
'07. Like you got to give it a break, right?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. No.
But
Of
it
course.
still is a walking simulator more or less that has
Yeah.
a little
But you say
stabby
that
stab.
it came out in '07. When did Final Fantasy VIII come out? And that's not a
Ooh.
walking simulator at all.
Oh,
Like,
you know what? Yeah, that's the
yeah, do you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like when was seven? Like it didn't need to be. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fanboy now, as you know. So I'm not slating it. But like, if you had the choice between the two put down in the same time period, I mean, when did Link's Awakening come out? When did the Ocarina of Time come out?
Uh,
Long before
yeah,
this walking simulator.
but
Like,
like I was hoping you were going to say that because like I've done the same thing myself about like, oh, this came out what year?
hmm
2011. Skyrim came out 2011.
mm, yeah,
Uncharted 3 came out
exactly.
2011.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like all these other games came out 2011. What happened what happened here?
Yeah, 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 exactly. What happened over here?
So I mean, I get it, but sometimes you just have to just not do that because otherwise you're just
No,
gonna
of
break,
course. No,
you
because
know.
then, well, no, exactly. And also, like you said, man, it's really good to see the evolution. And the thing what's cool with the Assassin's Creed is there is an overarching story as
hmm
well. The arcs from the original
Yeah.
game all the way up to Valhalla. So, you know, it still resonates because that's where the lore and the history of, I mean, end of the day, the franchise got a movie. It's getting a TV show. It's done well for itself.
Oh yeah. I mean, just a little, but
Just a
Well,
little
you know
bit.
what? To
Yeah.
wrap this up, let me ask you one more question here, because I think
No,
we'll
you're
have some
good.
fun with this. I hadn't asked you this already, so this be off the top of the dome.
Okay.
Worst RPG you ever played.
Oh god.
And it can't be that Baldur's Gate that you didn't finish.
No. Fallout 4.
Oh,
I can't stand Fallout
what we were
4.
gonna. So okay. Follow up.
What were
What
you hoping I was going to
what
say?
what? I might know the answer because Davis told me the same thing. What makes Fallout New Vegas so why does Fallout 4 fail where New Vegas succeeds?
Well, you see, bear in mind, I played them after the fact. So I played them in the last couple of years. So, it's hard because right. So New Vegas, from now looking back, I think the reason why that succeeded is because it was such a unique storyline, and it was very immersive. And I think that's probably what carried it. Fallout 4, Fallout 4 is a game that you mentioned in the same breath as Skyrim. As I know it was a post-apocalyptic scenario, but it just felt so empty. The world was just so empty. The settlement stuff for Fallout 4 was just all unnecessary. If you're into crafting, then good for you. Well done. But don't play Fallout 4. Play something else. I liked the atmosphere of it, but it's also an old trope as well. Fallout 4. Oh, I've lost my son. I need to find my son. And yeah, I think with New Vegas, perhaps as well. Sorry, with number 4. It is always the same. I've woken up. I don't have my memory. I know I'm a father, so I need to go off and find this. And it's just been done to death. I think as a storyline. So that kind of, I never played Fallout 3. Everyone told me Fallout. You see, I've got my Game Pass. I've got a game called Outer Worlds. Yeah, which is the designer of Fallout New Vegas. Because I can't remember the name of the companies, but they gave New Vegas to somebody else, and then gave Fallout 4 back to Bethesda or something like that. And yeah, I mean, I haven't finished New Vegas myself yet, but I just think you could see how New Vegas was groundbreaking, and 4 was more of the same.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
And the storyline in New Vegas so far has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I will, because I haven't played 4.
But yeah, no. 4 just seemed like a lot of time spent doing fuck all, and as an RPG fan, I kind of like that. But do you know what I mean? But it wasn't. I don't know. There wasn't the same. The crafting system, like the upgrade system for the armor and material gathering and stuff like that. It felt more like a survival game, pasted alongside a story, rather than a true RPG.
I see.
Yeah, I would say that. I'm not saying Fallout 4 is the worst RPG out there, but it's definitely the one that disappointed me the most.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I had a feeling I'm not surprised at all you said that. I remember you told me you just weren't feeling it at all. Did you get New Vegas through the Game Pass, or did you buy a copy of it?
No, I got it through the Game Pass.
Okay. Is 3 on Game Pass still as well?
It is. I will again. It's about time management, man. But unfortunately, that's not. It's on the list, but it's going to keep getting bumped because of how badly 4 let me down.
I see.
3 will continue to get bumped.
Well, I played 3 in New Vegas, like I said, and
because obviously in my head, if 4 is no good, why would 3 be better? But that's sort of a fussiness that's come as a result of playing after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, I understand you were burned. You don't want to get burned again, because it is because Bethesda owns, I believe, the Fallout franchise, and so they make it. They're also developers, so they made 3, and then they handed off New Vegas to Obsidian. That's the name of the developer.
Yeah, Obsidian, that's the one.
And then as like a spin-off title, and then they went to work on 4 or whatever, and even though 3 and 4 are so made by Bethesda, I can tell you at least reception wise, 3 got a much bigger reception than 4
Right.
did.
Okay.
I remember even though I didn't play it, it was like in my I knew about it, and 3 was just
Mhm.
getting reviewed, game of the year, like left and
Mhm.
right back in the day, man. Like I
Mhm.
was like, what is this Fallout 3 everyone keeps talking about? Like, like I'm playing Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
Like, what's this Fallout 3 you guys are talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then lo and behold, I eventually play it. I'm just like, now I get it. Now I get it. Because like you were saying about like which game was it? Skyrim. You play it however you want. Fallout 3,
Uh-huh.
dude, you do whatever the hell you want, and then the game just plays
Mhm.
out based on your decisions,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you have to deal with those consequences. But the game
Yeah.
will still resolve either way and works itself
Mhm.
out. There's stats. I don't think it's as deep as Skyrim, but like, you do whatever you want. And the VAT
Mhm.
system, people like the VAT system that was introduced in that game. I personally
I
love
don't know.
I didn't
I don't know.
I didn't use it that
I don't
much
know the
either,
VAT
but I'm
system.
just saying people
I don't
liked
know the
it.
VAT system.
I love
No,
the fact that you could be third or first person. Because I'm
Yeah.
a huge third person guy myself. I know most people are first. I
Really?
love third. Yeah, I don't.
Oh
I
no.
like to see the whole person most of the time,
Right. Okay.
and maybe because I'm always choosing a female, but that's beside the point. Um, but yeah, I mean,
That's a
it's.
deep. That's a deeper down the rabbit hole
Hey, let's not even. Hey,
moment.
shh. But yeah, it's I will say it kind of it's like a survival game, yes, but the RPG elements are still there, like very much
Mhm.
there. Especially when it comes to decision making and all the characters you meet. It's just it's a lot of fun.
That's the RPG trope that Obsidian are absolutely. You see, like the reason why I want to play Outer Worlds is because like you have character flaws as well. So if you make certain decisions, your character will become, say, like distrusting,
Hmm.
which will change the options for future conversations. So you have it's that deep. That's where New Vegas was so good because the conversation options are so in depth. But then but that only carries the game so far. Otherwise then it just becomes a conversation simulator. And um, it has to be alongside an absolutely kick-ass world. I mean, I do trailer reactions, right? So I always look at what are they not showing me, rather than what they are showing me. And if I've got an RPG coming up and they don't show me the menus, they don't show me where I can stick my sword or where I can put my armor on, I'm skeptical because that means they're hiding that. And an RPG player knows that those are the things that they're going to have to interact with every day. Now, Fallout 4, I didn't like the interactions. I didn't like the menus. I didn't like, what you collected and how you processed what you collected. It didn't feel good enough. But then that was alongside like unlimited choices in a conversation. At some point it's like, well, the guy asked me, do I want to buy some ramen noodles? And I've got like 9 different conversation options. Like, I don't need that. You know what I mean? What I need is a really intuitive and progressive skill tree. you know, I don't want, and so it kind of, I think with the Fallout games, it got a bit sidetracked with creating a great story experience by giving you loads of choices. But that detracted from the game for me.
Well, I mean, I can't say one way or the other on Fallout 4 because I haven't played it yet. I do know I can tell you that David, he still plays it. But he has admitted many times that it doesn't hold up to New Vegas or 3. So if that tells you anything, any vindication for you, there you go. But
Hmm.
I'm not going to tell you to play 3 right away. I'm not going to put that on you. I don't want to do that to you. But I think whenever the time comes, I have a somewhat good feeling you won't be as disappointed with 3 as you were with 4. That's just
Hmm.
going off of my gut, but that's it, and it could be wrong.
Okay.
But
Well, I will get there. It just when.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, we all have any real game. You're not a real gamer unless you are struggling with how to
Yeah.
manage your games. All right,
Yes.
I
If your list is not this big, you're
I
not a
have
real
a whole
gamer.
list of. Dave used to tease me about like I would buy a game and not touch it for like a year. He'd be like, "Hey, RJ, how's that Last of Us going?" Like, I don't know, I
Yeah.
haven't played it.
Well, I kind of expect that to happen with these. So now on my list, I've got the three. I've got Black Flag, Unity, Syndicate. I've got The Walking Dead, Telltale Definitive Edition, Watchdog Legions. That's the five. You know, I mean, there's like 1,000 hours right there. Like,
That's about yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, trust me. I mean, I'm not in my room, which is where my bookshelf is at with all my games. But yeah,
Hmm.
like I have a good amount of games that I have not even opened, and I bought a whole bunch of PS3 games because when there was that scare of the store getting shut down, I was like, oh shoot, I gotta cop these really fast. So now I have all those to play, and so
Nice.
it's like it never ends, and it's this the daily struggle of a gamer. Like
Exactly.
Rob said, there are not enough hours in the day and years and a lifetime to get through all this shit. Um, yeah. So, but anyways, this is gonna wrap up this podcast here. It's
Okay.
been a lot of
Lovely.
fun. It's been a lot of fun with
Yeah,
hanging out
thank you
with
very
Rob
much for
here,
asking me on,
and
man. I appreciate it.
another shout out to Big Rob over here. Man, he came through last minute, last second. He was like, "No problem, don't worry, count on me, man."
Even got up early for you and
He
everything.
got up early. He's sick, still recovering from the booster
I know.
shot. Like this dude is like this. Actually, well, I told you to dislike it like a couple times, but like
Yeah, yeah.
do something. Hit
Yeah.
like or dislike.
Interact.
Interact with the video for Rob here for the for the effort he's putting in today. But
Yeah.
as
Thank
always,
you.
guys, we appreciate you guys listening in, hanging out with us, watching. If you have something to say on regards to anything we talked about, RPG wise, racing game wise, something else, just being, I don't know, an old gamer, a boomer gamer, who would have called toll lines to get tips and hints,
Yeah, exactly.
comment below, let us know if you know about the grind. Let us know about the grind, because the grind is real. And
The grind is divine.
oh gosh.
The grind is divine.
Yeah, the grind is divine. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button or in the bell. When we put up more podcasts, we do this once a week, every Sunday. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my man Rob, or Shut-Yer-Gobs. That's how his channel name is. I will post that crap in the description with everything else in there. And buy his merch too. Buy his mug and the mouse pad and whatever else is on there. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys all had a great, happy holidays. If you decided to listen to us, we appreciate it again, and hope you guys have a safe and happy New Year. Next week, it should be David and I in person for the first time in, like, I don't know, a year and a half. Recording a podcast in person together in the same place, and I cannot wait. But yeah, thank you again, Rob. Appreciate you being on. I loved it. Love you. And we
Thank
will
you.
see you guys next time. Goodbye.
See you later, guys.